Every mind is a battlefield, and every emotion is an enemy waiting for a moment of weakness. Fear, anger, and desire strike silently, undermining your decisions, seeding hesitation, and eroding influence before you even recognize their presence. Each outburst is a breach in your fortress, a gap through which rivals and circumstances can exploit your instability. Consider leaders like Caesar Borgia, whose ambitions were vast but whose lapses in judgment and uncontrolled impulses allowed enemies to seize advantage, or Lorenzo de' Medici, whose brilliance was sometimes shadowed by emotional miscalculations that weakened alliances. These examples are not relics of the past. They are enduring lessons in the cost of letting emotion dictate action. Your mind is a throne, and only you can occupy it with authority. Begin by surveying the terrain of your thoughts. Identify where fear lingers, where resentment simmers, and where desire tempts you into rash action. Each recognition is a sentry placed at a critical point of defense. Maintain vigilance. Monitor the triggers that provoke instant reactions and craft a response strategy in advance. Silence and observation are weapons. Patience is armor. When someone challenges your judgment, remain composed. A colleague questions your decision in a meeting. Respond with measured logic, acknowledge the input, then reinforce your position without anger or defensiveness. Your calm signals mastery, your poise disarms potential adversaries. Every moment of emotional surrender carries a cost. Daily, small lapses accumulate, creating cracks in authority that others can exploit. In professional and personal arenas alike, those who maintain composure consistently command respect, attract cooperation, and navigate conflicts efficiently. Each controlled response fortifies the mind, shaping a fortress where fear cannot infiltrate and desire cannot dictate the terms of engagement. Weak reactions are invitations. Strong, measured responses are declarations of sovereignty. Discipline your thoughts as if you are organizing an army. Assign priorities, eliminate distractions, and prepare contingencies for unexpected assaults on your composure. Implement tactical routines that reinforce this dominion. Begin mornings with intentional focus, structuring the first hours as a preemptive strike against chaos and indecision. Use brief moments of stillness throughout the day to recalibrate and assess internal states, turning potential emotional surges into controlled energy that advances your objectives. Visualize challenges as strategic maneuvers on a chessboard. Anticipate moves, consider countermoves, and act from a position of calculated advantage rather than reactive impulse. In disagreements, practice selective engagement. Respond when necessary, ignore when trivial. Your restraint signals authority and reduces unnecessary conflict. Weak. I feel frustrated, but I'll try to be calm. Strong. I observe without reacting. My strategy proceeds. The battlefield of the mind rewards those who see beyond immediate sensations and act from deliberate intention. Guard your thoughts like a general oversees a fortress. Patrol the perimeter of your attention, intercept impulses before they compromise your position, and reinforce the walls with reflection and discipline. Recognize that control is not suppression, but mastery. Emotion becomes a resource to harness, rather than a liability to endure. With each conscious choice to remain composed, you fortify your throne and extend your influence. Command yourself first. The world bends to your presence. Your mind is a throne, and every thought, every impulse is either a loyal subject or a potential usurper. To sit with authority, you must first recognize that sovereignty begins internally. Observe the flow of your attention as if surveying the battlements of a fortress. Each distraction, each uncontrolled reaction is a breach in the walls. Cognitive command requires vigilance. Train your focus like a sentinel, stationed at every gate, prepared to intercept any intruder before it reaches the inner sanctum. Do not allow fleeting anxieties or sudden desires to dictate your responses. Identify them, acknowledge them, and then redirect energy toward deliberate action. Discipline your perception so that nothing of consequence escapes your notice, yet nothing irrelevant invades your calm. Historical examples illuminate the stakes. Marcus Aurelius maintained his composure amid political upheaval, personal betrayal, and the relentless pressures of empire. He acted from principle, measured in every decision, unshaken by fear or desire. His control was not passive, it was active sovereignty, asserting authority over his internal kingdom first, then extending influence outward. Observe how his calm inspired loyalty and preserved alliances, even when external forces sought to destabilize him. These lessons are not distant echoes, they remain relevant. Leaders and strategists across centuries demonstrate that those who command their inner realm act with precision and impact, while those who surrender it subtly lose ground. Emotional taxation is insidious and cumulative. Each lapse in composure diminishes your credibility and the respect you command. A hurried temper, a reactive remark, or unchecked jealousy functions like erosion against stone, imperceptible in the moment, yet weakening foundations over time. Recognize that your throne is maintained not by force alone, but by the consistency of measured, deliberate thought. Guard your attention, allocate your mental resources as a general allocates troops, positioning strength where threats are most likely. Small victories over distraction and impulse compound, fortifying resilience. Every controlled reaction signals mastery, and every surrender invites challenge. Commanding the mind also requires tactical routines. Begin your day with structured focus, as if fortifying the outer walls of your fortress before the first battle. Implement deliberate pauses, moments of reflection that allow recalibration, preventing minor disruptions from escalating into full breaches. Visualize challenges as calculated maneuvers on a chessboard. Anticipate potential moves, weigh consequences, and respond from a position of advantage rather than reaction. In interactions, exercise calm leadership. When a subordinate or peer disputes a decision, respond with clarity and measured acknowledgement, redirecting the conversation toward productive resolution. Weak. I feel frustrated, but I'll try to be calm. Strong. I observe without reacting. Strategy continues. Your restraint demonstrates authority, deterring future attempts to destabilize your position. Your throne is not maintained through suppression, but through mastery. Emotions are neither enemies to eradicate nor indulgences to follow blindly. They are forces to be understood and strategically engaged. Each conscious choice to regulate impulse, to remain composed, is a reinforcement of your sovereignty. Guard your mind as a general oversees a fortress, anticipate vulnerabilities, and neutralize threats before they compromise your authority. Strength emerges silently, invisibly, until the moment of execution is decisive and absolute. The battlefield within is unforgiving, yet those who command themselves first hold the ultimate advantage. Rule yourself and all else bows. The first hours of your day are a battlefield, and victory here determines the course of every subsequent engagement. Dawn is not a neutral moment. It is the opening salvo of influence, control, and personal sovereignty. Approach it with strategy, with deliberate preparation, and you seize momentum before the world can impose its demands. Structured rituals are your armor against distraction and impulsivity. They create a framework that limits the chaos that will inevitably attempt to breach your defenses. Make your bed, engage in movement, focus your mind on critical priorities. Each act is a sentry stationed along the perimeter, holding the line before the day escalates. Neglect these routines, and disorder seeps in, unopposed, weakening your capacity to act with precision and calm. Psychological advantage emerges when you secure small victories early. Completing even minor objectives establishes the mental precedent for competence and control. Confidence is not spontaneous, it is cultivated through repeated, disciplined action. Athletes, CEOs, and military leaders understand this principle intuitively. The morning sets the rhythm. When the first battle is won, subsequent skirmishes are approached from a position of authority rather than reaction. Each completed task reinforces emotional stability, reducing susceptibility to provocation or distraction. Your mind, trained through consistent early victories, functions like a disciplined unit, coordinated, resilient, and ready to execute complex strategies without hesitation. Implement your personal arsenal deliberately. Map your tasks and commitments like a general lays out his forces, allocating energy where threats and opportunities are greatest. Begin with mental clarity exercises to establish calm and focus. Follow with physical engagement to anchor discipline in the body as well as the mind. Each ritual compounds strength, making it increasingly difficult for fleeting impulses or external pressures to derail you. When confronted with conflicting priorities or resistance from colleagues, respond with measured acknowledgement and redirect attention to the most strategic objectives. Weak: I'll try to get through this calmly. Strong: I act with control. My plan dictates the pace. Demonstrate restraint and influence follows without force. Your morning victories are not trivial. They are decisive maneuvers in the war for self-command. Recognize the stakes. Surrendering the first hours invites chaos, fatigue, and emotional compromise, while mastery amplifies confidence, clarity, and influence. Treat each dawn as a campaign and approach it with the precision and intentionality of a commander securing key terrain. Momentum achieved in these early hours radiates through every interaction, decision, and challenge. Each ritual reinforces dominance over distraction. Each completed objective fortifies resolve, and each measured response trains the mind to operate from calm authority. Win your morning, and you win the day. Stillness is not weakness. It is the most precise weapon in your arsenal, a strategy of dominance disguised as calm. The mind that pauses before action commands more influence than one that reacts impulsively. Controlled breathing and deliberate reflection serve as mental fortifications, allowing you to observe without surrendering territory to emotion. Each pause is a preemptive strike against manipulation, a measured assertion that your attention is yours to wield. Historical figures practice this intentionally. Generals, statesmen, and philosophers who faced unpredictable adversaries understood that the interval between stimulus and response is where control is won or lost. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, emphasized the deliberate management of reactions, creating space between impulse and action that preserved both clarity and authority. Meditative strategy transforms ordinary moments into tactical advantages. A brief pause before responding to criticism, a controlled breath in moments of frustration, or a deliberate assessment of a complex situation allows you to see opportunities that others overlook. In professional settings, reacting without pause often concedes influence to those seeking to provoke. Calm evaluation converts potential threats into manageable variables. The mind functions like a well-manned fortress. Vigilance and preparation allow you to anticipate attacks, neutralize them efficiently, and maintain your position without unnecessary engagement. Stoic philosophy illustrates the power of deliberate pauses in action. Leaders of history navigated treacherous political landscapes by mastering their own temperament, choosing the timing of every move with precision. Each decision became an exercise in maintaining the upper hand, an avoidance of unnecessary vulnerability. The principle is clear: measured response amplifies authority, and hesitation rooted in discipline is far superior to impulsive action that sacrifices advantage. Every moment of internal quiet consolidates control and strengthens the capacity for decisive intervention when the situation demands. High-stakes impact is immediate and practical. When confronted with emotional provocation, silence signals mastery. A colleague challenges your judgment in a meeting. Instead of reacting defensively, you acknowledge their point, allow space, then redirect discussion toward objective solutions. Weak? I'm upset, but I'll respond. Strong? I maintain clarity. Strategy guides my actions. Each pause shifts the balance of power subtly, preserving influence and deterring future disruption. Treat stillness as a weapon. Wield it consciously, reinforce it through repeated practice, and let it dictate the rhythm of engagement. Every controlled moment erodes potential threats, fortifies composure, and extends your dominion over the battlefield of thought. Silence is strength. Patience is power. Ruthlessness is not cruelty. It is the deliberate act of preserving power and clarity by removing what threatens your dominion. Your mind is a kingdom, and any element, habit, impulse, or influence that undermines authority must be exercised without hesitation. Begin with the internal purge. Confront self-doubt, fear, and hesitation as if they are traitors plotting within your walls. Recognize how each moment of indecision or surrender compromises control. Label the destructive thought, observe its patterns, and sever its hold. This is not an act of denial, but of disciplined assertion. By eliminating the weak points in your own psyche, you consolidate strength, preparing the battlefield for decisive action rather than reaction. Tactical removal extends beyond thoughts to the environment that shapes them. Modern life presents countless distractions, incessant notifications, digital clutter, social inputs that dilute focus. Treat these intrusions as scouts or saboteurs, seeking access to your inner citadel. Audit your devices, your commitments, and your attention. Remove what serves only to scatter energy or provoke unnecessary emotional reactions. Each deletion, each boundary enforced, is a strategic maneuver to reinforce mental fortifications. Discipline your surroundings as meticulously as your thoughts. A cluttered environment weakens even the most resilient mind. Long-term advantage is the reward for this ruthless elimination. Every excised habit or distraction strengthens resilience and sharpens perception. The more consistently you practice this mental pruning, the fewer vulnerabilities remain for competitors, colleagues, or circumstances to exploit. In interactions, apply the same precision. When confronted with provocation, respond from a place of prepared strength rather than surrendering to emotional reflex. Weak, I'll try not to react. Strong, I maintain control. My boundaries dictate engagement. Each act of selective engagement reinforces authority, ensuring that only what serves your strategic aims remains within your influence. Embrace this philosophy as ongoing practice. Your sovereignty demands vigilance and decisive action against internal and external threats. Habits, fears, and distractions are not passive. They are insurgents in a constant siege. Excise them with deliberate precision, fortify your mental landscape, and act with the clarity that emerges from unchallenged command. The battlefield of the mind rewards those who enforce boundaries without hesitation, who remove impediments without remorse, and who allow no weakness to linger. Eliminate what weakens you, and your throne stands unassailable. Power is often conveyed not through words, but through the deliberate management of presence. Your expressions, posture, and timing act as instruments of influence, signaling authority before a single command is issued. In social interactions, the mask of command functions as both shield and weapon, concealing internal states while projecting control. Emotional camouflage allows you to obscure reactions that could be exploited, transforming your face and body into strategic tools. Each deliberate pause, controlled glance or measured tone communicates competence and composure, shaping the perceptions of those around you. Those who reveal too much invite manipulation. Those who master concealment command respect effortlessly. Nonverbal dominance extends beyond the mere suppression of emotion. Posture, gesture, and cadence of speech amplify influence, creating a presence that resonates even in silence. A negotiator who remains unflustered under pressure signals unshakable resolve, guiding the flow of discussion without overt assertion. Timing is equally critical. Pauses before responses convey thoughtfulness and authority, while controlled movement maintains a subtle but persistent command over the room. In corporate, political, and strategic contexts, these techniques are routinely applied. CEOs enter meetings with deliberate composure. Politicians maintain masks that convey stability under scrutiny. Your goal is not deception for its own sake, but calculated projection that aligns perception with intent. Modern parallels reinforce the practical application. Social media, boardrooms, and high-stakes negotiations are saturated with subtle signals that shape influence. Control of your own expression prevents opponents or peers from exploiting momentary lapses, while strategic displays of calm confidence shift the balance of power in your favor. When challenged, respond with measured acknowledgement and redirection. Weak. I feel frustrated, but I'll respond politely. Strong. I maintain composure. Strategy dictates my engagement. Micro-adjustments in voice, gaze, and posture consolidate authority more reliably than words alone. The mask of command is a cultivated skill, refined through conscious attention and deliberate practice. Begin by observing your natural reactions and incrementally adjusting them to convey clarity and control. Treat every interaction as a field where perception and influence are actively contested. Your presence becomes a signal, your composure a weapon, and your awareness a fortification. This disciplined projection of authority amplifies respect, deters challenges, and solidifies influence without aggression. Maintain this mastery consistently, and you turn silent observation into decisive advantage. Project control, and power follows. Emotions are not merely internal experiences. They are stealthy assailants that, if unchallenged, can undermine authority and clarity. To survive and dominate, you must become the predator of your own impulses, striking before they strike you. Mental preemption is the foundation of this strategy. Identify triggers that provoke fear, anger, or desire, and prepare deliberate countermeasures. Anticipate scenarios where emotion can compromise judgment and rehearse responses that neutralize vulnerability. Each recognized trigger is a potential ambush. By surveying the terrain of your mind, you convert hidden threats into manageable variables. Awareness transforms chaos into tactical opportunity. Adopt a predator mindset, observing impulses as a hunter tracks prey. Watch them silently, without engagement, assessing their trajectory and potential impact. Do not suppress merely out of fear. Instead, analyze and contain each stir of reaction until it is fully under control. The predator does not waste energy chasing shadows, but waits for the precise moment to act decisively. Similarly, your internal discipline allows you to channel energy strategically, choosing when and how to respond while maintaining an unshakable calm. Each impulse monitored, each reaction delayed, reinforces dominance over the battlefield of thought. Strategic detachment converts potential weakness into advantage. Recognize that emotional vulnerabilities often reveal patterns others might exploit. By mastering them internally, you remove leverage from external pressures. In interactions, maintain this detachment visibly. When provoked, Respond with measured acknowledgement, redirecting focus to objectives rather than reacting to the provocation itself. Weak. I feel offended, but I'll stay polite. Strong. I control my response. Strategy guides my engagement. By treating emotion as a tactical variable rather than an uncontrollable force, you transform threats into tools for calculated influence. This inner assassin operates continuously, monitoring, evaluating, and neutralizing emotional incursions before they manifest. It is a disciplined practice that requires vigilance, foresight, and unwavering attention to internal signals. The more consistently you apply preemption, the less opportunity exists for reactionary lapses to compromise your authority. Each anticipated threat removed strengthens resilience, fortifies composure, and expands your capacity to execute strategy without distraction. Train relentlessly, observe without attachment, and strike decisively within the mind. Dominate yourself, and no force can dominate you. Desire is not inherently a weakness. It is raw energy, a force that, if unmanaged, can scatter focus, yet, if disciplined, can drive achievement beyond ordinary limits. Feeding the wolf means channeling that energy with precision, transforming instinct into power. Controlled appetite begins with recognizing your impulses, lust, greed, ambition, and constantly directing them toward constructive outcomes. Historical figures like Julius Caesar and Catherine de' Medici exemplified this. They converted personal ambition and strategic appetite into enduring influence, wielding desire as a tool rather than a chain. Each unchecked craving is a distraction. Each harnessed drive becomes leverage over circumstance. Redirection tactics are critical to mastery. Emotions such as anger, jealousy, or envy are not obstacles to eliminate, but signals to be transformed. Convert frustration into planning, rivalry into strategic positioning, and longing into motivation to achieve defined objectives. Channeling desire requires constant vigilance. Track impulses as a predator tracks prey, measuring potential for advantage before engagement. In practice, this may mean using competitive energy to innovate, negotiating leverage in professional contexts, or harnessing personal ambition to elevate skills and influence. Mismanaged desire feeds chaos. Controlled desire fuels ascension. Sustained hunger underpins the predator's focus. The wolf does not satisfy itself immediately. It endures, conserving energy, striking only when advantage aligns with intent. Similarly, ambition must be cultivated patiently, maintained with discipline and clarity. Feed selective impulses that enhance mastery and disregard distractions that dilute power. By doing so, you maintain strategic alertness while reinforcing internal authority over both impulse and outcome. Observe your desires, prioritize those that serve the mission, and maintain relentless focus on the target. This practice turns desire from liability into instrument. Each impulse converted into action strengthens resolve, refines judgment, and amplifies your capacity to influence. Internal hunger, directed with precision, becomes a resource rather than a vulnerability, a silent engine driving mastery without emotional compromise. Train this discipline relentlessly, recognize, redirect, and conserve energy for impact. Feed the wolf and let it serve your dominion. Life is a chessboard, and every action you take is a move that shapes the end game. Anticipate the counter-moves of others, while preserving the flexibility to adapt your own strategy. Strategic foresight begins with mapping potential scenarios, predicting reactions, and understanding that each choice carries consequences. Consider your daily interactions, negotiations, meetings, or personal discussions as high-stakes engagements where thoughtless responses concede territory to rivals. Prepare for contingencies by rehearsing responses and mentally simulating outcomes. This is not hesitation, it is deliberate preparation, allowing calculated maneuvers rather than impulsive reactions. Power dynamics are subtle but pervasive. Emotional manipulation is a common tactic in professional and social arenas, where colleagues, competitors, or peers may provoke reactions to gain advantage. Recognize the signs: pressure, flattery, diversion, and maintain composure to prevent surrendering influence. In practice, this might involve calmly redirecting a tense negotiation without showing irritation, neutralizing attempts to provoke, or strategically withholding information to maintain leverage. Every visible emotional shift can alter perception. Guard your expressions and tone as carefully as you plan your moves. Modern life mirrors complex chess play. CEOs anticipate competitor strategy. Negotiators position themselves to extract optimal terms, and social influencers craft reputations that shape opportunities. Each interaction requires awareness of both immediate tactics and long-term positioning. Document patterns, observe recurring behaviors, and use this intelligence to inform choices. Prioritize decisions that preserve initiative, control pace, and exploit openings without compromising integrity or overextending resources. The goal is not dominance for its own sake, but mastery of influence, where every move aligns with overarching objectives. Actively practice situational analysis. Before responding, ask whether action consolidates position or exposes weakness. In a team discussion, if a peer challenges a proposal aggressively, maintain a neutral demeanor, reframe the argument calmly, and steer outcomes toward collective benefit. Every deliberate pause, every measured gesture, strengthens authority and signals strategic control. Train this discipline consistently, observe, anticipate, and respond with precision. Every move defines your victory. Discipline is the forge where iron wills are created, and consistency is the hammer that shapes strength. Begin each day with deliberate exercises that challenge body, mind, and emotion alike. Physical routines cultivate endurance and resilience. Mental drills sharpen focus and clarity. Emotional practices condition restraint and composure. These daily rituals are not mere habits. They are the scaffolding upon which unshakable control is built. Each repetition strengthens neural pathways, making calm and deliberate action instinctive under pressure. History offers clear precedent. Samurai trained relentlessly in swordsmanship, meditation, and ritual to cultivate unwavering resolve, understanding that mastery requires daily confrontation with discomfort. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius emphasized repeated reflection and disciplined thought as a path to inner sovereignty. Elite warriors and leaders of various eras faced grueling routines, deliberate challenges, and structured trials, knowing that the mind's fortitude was forged in quiet, persistent effort rather than in moments of crisis. Their victories were not accidents, they were the natural outcome of cultivated resilience. Cumulative advantage is silent but decisive. Strength built incrementally becomes automatic under stress, allowing measured decisions when rivals react impulsively. Strategic rituals create a psychological edge, reinforcing patience, observation, and calculated response. Practice intentional cold exposure, disciplined movement, or controlled breathing daily to condition not only body but resolve. The mind becomes accustomed to discomfort without surrendering control, converting potential weakness into enduring capability. Apply these principles consistently. Execute morning routines with precision, challenge cognitive biases, and confront small fears deliberately. Each victory, no matter how minor, reinforces dominance over internal chaos and external pressures. When disagreements arise, respond with measured clarity, turning provocation into demonstration of calm authority. Train persistently, embrace repetition, and build resilience, like steel folded upon steel. Strength is earned in the quiet forge of discipline. True power is measured not by the force you exert, but by the calm you maintain when chaos erupts. Ascend beyond influence by cultivating a presence that others unconsciously obey, a silent authority that does not need proclamation. Your mind is the throne, your composure the guard that no emotional assault can breach. Stand immovable as rivals lunge with provocation, observing each attempt without yielding a flicker of reaction. Psychological immunity is forged through consistent internal discipline. Emotional attacks, insults, manipulation, pressure bounce off when you have trained your responses in advance. The mind conditioned to anticipate and absorb provocation remains sovereign. Executives, negotiators, and leaders who excel under pressure maintain this untouchable aura, allowing them to navigate high-stakes situations with clarity and precision, while others falter. Silence becomes a weapon, observation a shield. Like a predator at the apex, you operate above the fray. Your energy is focused on calculated moves rather than reactive displays. Others sense your control and instinctively defer, fearing the unseen consequences of rash engagement. Every decision is deliberate, each pause a demonstration of mastery. When disagreement arises, respond with measured calm, using timing and minimal action to assert authority without conflict. Command your environment by regulating internal impulses. Convert desire, frustration, and tension into calculated observation. Remain detached yet engaged, aware yet unshaken. Build layers of discipline until influence is automatic and aggression unnecessary. Your presence should be magnetic and formidable, respected without threat and feared without confrontation. Control is the throne upon which untouchable power sits. Discipline is forged in the quiet moments before dawn, where victory begins in the mind before the day ever stirs. Your mornings are battlefields, and each ritual, each deliberate act of control is a weapon shaping your psyche into a fortress. You have trained your body, mind, and emotions to follow commands without hesitation, converting fleeting impulses into precise action. Awareness of triggers, internal preemption, and controlled reflection ensure that no external force can dictate your state. Calm becomes your default, a constant presence that others sense yet cannot breach. Every step, from the first light to strategic engagement, builds momentum that others cannot disrupt. Your mind now functions as both scout and general, observing threats while planning counter moves. Visualize life as a battlefield, each interaction a tactical encounter where hesitation is costly. Anticipate emotional assaults and maneuver preemptively, neutralizing potential disruptions before they surface. The predator mindset, silent, patient, deliberate, enables mastery over impulses, converting desire, anger, and ambition into precise, strategic outcomes. Your reactions are deliberate, your energy is conserved, your focus is unyielding. When conflict arises, respond with measured calm, asserting authority without unnecessary confrontation. Ritualized discipline compounds into unbreakable resilience. Daily conditioning, historical precedents from samurai, Stoics, and elite strategists demonstrate that repeated trials harden resolve. Digital distractions, social noise, and trivial pursuits are excised with precision, leaving only what strengthens the mind. Each action, each decision reinforces a system where internal order governs external influence. Emotional camouflage and controlled expressions amplify presence, enabling silent dominance in negotiations, leadership, and interpersonal dynamics. Weak signals from rivals are met with silence, timing, and minimal movement, subtlety as potent as direct force. The synthesis of all previous strategies transforms awareness into omnipotence. Strategic foresight, Tactical patience, predator instinct, and ritualized fortitude converge into a single operational system. The mind becomes a fortress impervious to attack and a weapon capable of precise strikes. Influence flows from presence, not coercion, and observation replaces reaction. Every maneuver, verbal or physical, is calculated, each pause deliberate, each engagement purposeful. Life itself becomes a chessboard, with your mental clarity dictating outcomes. Opponents act predictably in response to your composed power, and advantage accumulates silently, consistently, inevitably. Embody mastery. Operate from the apex of calm. Transform impulses into strategy, fear into focus, and attention into dominance. Let every moment reinforce discipline. Every choice echoes preparation, and every victory confirms control. Your mind is no longer susceptible to distraction or emotional manipulation. It is a weapon honed through consistency, foresight, and ruthless internal governance. Stand untouchable, an apex predator in the theater of human ambition, commanding without aggression and excelling without compromise. Forge the mind, wield the world. Mastery begins in the silent victories of your day, where each deliberate pause, each restrained impulse, asserts authority over your own mind. Your thoughts are the battlefield, and control is both weapon and shield. Daily vigilance transforms fleeting choices into consistent power. Resisting a reactive outburst is as crucial as seizing an opportunity in a high-stakes negotiation. Observe your triggers, anticipate emotional assaults, and let measured responses dictate your path. Even in disagreement, remain composed. Your calm commands respect without a word, and rivals reveal their weaknesses through their own agitation. Internalize the language of control. Repeat to yourself, I act with purpose. I observe before I strike. I am untouchable in presence. Each phrase reinforces dominance, conditioning your mind to respond from strategy rather than impulse. In meetings, social interactions, and personal challenges, this mental rehearsal shifts perception. Your silence, timing, and posture communicate authority more powerfully than any declaration. Weak, reacting to anger. Strong, absorbing, analyzing, responding strategically. Weak, following impulse. Strong, commanding choice. Weak, scattered attention. Strong, focused presence. Your consistency compounds. Each day you exercise restraint, redirect desire, and sharpen focus. You fortify your mental throne. Respect and influence follow, not from intimidation, but from the inescapable impression of unshakable composure. Authority becomes invisible yet undeniable, a gravitational pull that shapes outcomes in your favor. The ultimate reward is the alignment of action and thought, the fusion of willpower and clarity into a form that rivals instinct cannot sway. Stand firm, act deliberate, and let every decision affirm your sovereignty over self and circumstance. Embody discipline. Own your impulses. Let the world respond to the calm, calculated force within you. Each victory over emotion is a step toward unassailable influence. Reinforce the mantra daily, command your presence, and operate from the apex of your mind. Command yourself, command the world.